Meet Aaron, a guy who had to grow up fast when his sister was in a life-changing accident. At just 18, he made the tough call to skip college and jump straight into the working world to support his family. Now, at 33, he's a seasoned pro, but the past has a way of catching up. When Aaron bumps into Cameron, a former coworker who once looked down on him, old tensions flare up. Just when things are about to get heated, someone unexpected steps in. What happens next? You'll have to watch to find out. Hey Aaron, our department is filled with graduates from top universities. Do you really think you, a high school graduate, can keep up here? Are you even thinking clearly? His words made me clench my fists. How could someone judge a person solely by their educational background? With a small sigh, I made up my mind. I looked him straight in the eye and spoke. My name is Aaron Reed. I'm a 33-year-old office worker. It's been almost 15 years since I started working. As you can tell from what you said, I started working right after high school. Was there a reason for that? Maybe, but I am now thriving in my career. I come from a family of four, with my parents and a younger sister. My parents are university professors, very dedicated to their research, and seeing them work hard made me love learning from a young age. Mom, Dad, what's this book? This is an important book for me and your mom. Wow, it's really thick. In my childhood, I simply thought my parents, surrounded by books, were amazing. As I grew older and became a high school student, I admired their dedication to research. Taking their classes made me want to go to college and study something I was interested in. Dad, your lecture at the university was really easy to understand. After going to the open campus, I definitely want to go to college and study what I'm interested in. Wow, I never imagined hearing something so amazing from our child. Don't you agree, honey?
Yes, Aaron, you follow your own path.
Okay. My parents supported my decision and encouraged me to go to college,
Aaron, are you going to college?
asked my little sister Claire with a cute smile. Since our parents were busy, I often took care of her, and despite the loneliness she might have felt, she grew up to be a very kind child. Unlike me, who wasn't good at sports, Claire loved running and excelled in physical education at school. Yeah,
College is a great place. I know you are good at studies.
I remembered her beaming smile when she said this when she was little. It's a nostalgic, sweet memory. I never got to fulfill that dream though. Having kind and diligent parents and a cute and energetic sister, my life was normal and happy. That peaceful life cracked when I was in my second year of high school, struggling with my future. It will take a long time for your sister's leg to fully recover. Claire was involved in a car accident and suffered serious injuries. When I got the call, I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I remember rushing to the hospital like my life depended on it. I still remember the moment my parents and I were left speechless by the doctor's words at the hospital. Although her life was saved, Claire had to be hospitalized for a while, and due to the aftereffects, she was forced to live in a wheelchair. Claire, who loved sports, was initially depressed, but when she heard from the doctor that there was a possibility of recovery, she smiled and said,
I'll work hard on my rehab.
seeing her smile was a relief. To cover the cost of her treatment and hospitalization, we needed money. Though my parents were university professors and we hadn't struggled financially, the hospital and travel expenses were significant. Plus, Claire would be entering high school next year and would start thinking about college. This reality led me to a decision. Dad, Mom, I think I'll get a job after I graduate from high school. Aaron,
We support your college dreams. You don't need to give up.
but the hospital bills for Claire are significant, and we don't know what else might happen, right? Besides, I thought it might be good to start working and learning early. So, it's for myself too. My parents initially insisted I didn't need to give up on my dreams and should go to college, but in the end, they nodded with sad smiles and said, "All right, we're sorry." Even so, for someone like me who didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to do, the sudden change in my career path was troubling. Not knowing which path I wanted to take made job hunting very difficult. Seeing my struggle, my parents made a suggestion. "Aaron, if you're interested, your mom and I have a friend who started a company. He has extensive knowledge in management and business. How about working under him?" With those words, my future job prospects were almost decided. Following my father's advice, I researched the company and learned that it was a niche firm thriving in the modern age. It had various departments, offering opportunities to develop a wide range of skills as a working adult, and I immediately expressed my interest in working there. My parents talked to their friend Jack, who was then a department manager at the company. Of course, I wouldn't be hired easily, so I had a meeting and an interview-like session with Jack. "Jack, I appreciate it. Don't mention it. You have helped me a lot. Nice to meet you, Aaron." "Hello. It's a pleasure to meet you. Oh, I see you have such a wonderful son." We talked a lot that day, and I became determined to work at Jack's company. Jack also laid out some conditions. "Aaron, I think it's very admirable that you decided to enter the workforce for your sister's sake. I'll support you fully. However, being a working adult isn't easy. I'll teach you everything I can about being a professional. It might not be an easy path, but can you handle it?" "Of course. Thank you very much." Thus, I started working at my current company. At first, getting used to the job was tough, and I came home exhausted every day, but the work was more enjoyable than I had imagined, and I became engrossed in it. Jack was strict but kind when necessary, and being young, I gradually grew as a working adult. Of course, it wasn't all fun. My close friends from high school were enjoying their college life, and when we met after a long time, I sometimes envied their stories. At the same time, I felt guilty for becoming a working adult, going against my parents' hopes for me to attend college. In the early days when I wasn't used to the job, despite the enjoyment, I often wondered if this was really the right choice. As a result, I sometimes couldn't fully focus on my work. "Aaron, the data entry in this report is wrong. I'm sorry. This led to an increase in mistakes." I hated myself for that and went through a phase where I worked overtime to push myself. And during such times, Jack sternly told me, "Everyone has things they can't do and regrets, but that's not a reason to rush. That urgency doesn't mean you should push yourself harder. Taking breaks when you can and switching off is very important for a working adult. Right now, you haven't learned to do that yet." I was saved many times by his kindness. It wasn't just Jack. The senior members in my department never belittled me for being a high school graduate, and they taught me many things with great care. I, who was struggling alone with various conflicts, was gradually saved by my colleagues. 3 years later, one day, the annual new employees joined the neighboring department. Since our departments often work together, we had a lot of interaction. This time, Cameron, the new hire, was older than me and had graduated from a prestigious university. "College, huh? Hearing about it makes me envious again." With these thoughts in mind, I went to greet Cameron. The greeting went smoothly with his friendly demeanor, but then he looked at me curiously and asked, "Aaron, you look young. How old are you?" "Oh, I'm 21 this year." "What? So you started working right after high school?" I was a bit surprised by his sudden words. The face that had been friendly just a moment ago now looked at me with a mix of pity and disdain. "Yes, due to various reasons." "Well, various reasons. It's surprising to see high school graduates these days. I'm amazed you got into this company. Was it through connections or something?" I was taken aback by his sudden change in attitude. "Well, as you might have heard, my university is quite prestigious. Even I had a hard time getting a job here, so I never expected to see a high school graduate as a senior. But in my department, high school graduates wouldn't stand a chance. I don't know much about your department, but it seems kind of dull." His condescending attitude grew, and I couldn't help but frown. As Cameron's disdain increased, I tried to say something back, but the longing for college life flashed through my mind. If I hadn't given up on college, would I be treated with such contempt? Would my parents have been happier if I had worked part-time and gone to college? Such thoughts crossed my mind, and I couldn't say anything back to Cameron. In the end, I avoided interacting with him, but his words lingered and deeply hurt me. Though I had given up on college, I often wondered if there had been other ways. One day, the department manager invited me for a drink. "It's been 3 years since you joined the company. You were a kid back then, and now you're old enough to drink, and I'm glad we can share a drink together." Yes, I'm happy too. Despite my worries, I felt a bit more cheerful at the drinking session. I have many fond memories of welcome parties and gatherings with colleagues. Aaron, I believe you will be one of those who carry this company in the future. Jack always supported me. He never compared me to others or showed favoritism, treating me the same as everyone else. That made me happier than anything. So, his comment at that time made me happy too. It's still in the future, but you're straightforward and quick to learn. I'm still just a department manager, but I want to contribute more to the company someday. When that time comes, will you follow me? Jack's words made me clench my fists. I still didn't know if I was working well, but Jack's sincere eyes seemed to push me forward and give me confidence. Sure, I'll work even harder so I can be ready by then. I'm glad to hear that. That's why I took you on. I was drawn to your honest and clear eyes. So you don't have to push yourself too hard. With those words, I understood everything. Jack had noticed that I was losing confidence. College is just one path. Even now, there are many young people thriving with just a high school diploma. Like you, for example, right? Yes. My vision blurred with tears at Jack's words. Pretending not to notice, I wiped my eyes with my sleeve and looked straight at Jack. I no longer had any doubts in my heart. Someday, I want to repay Jack, and I want to work together and aim even higher. From that day, I dedicated myself even more to my work. After nearly 12 years, I understood how quickly time passes. Thinking back to my teenage years, I was now a respectable 30-something. As an ordinary employee, I was grateful to have been given the position of manager, and I found even more enjoyment in my work. Then, a sudden turning point arrived. Aaron, there's talk of a department transfer. I want you to take it on. What? I was called to the CO's office and offered a transfer. Honestly, after 15 years, I had forgotten about the possibility of transfers. We have to reorganize the department. It's a tough job, but I believe you can do it. Okay. I appreciate it. Though I was initially confused by the sudden transfer, the new department was closely related to mine, being the neighboring department, so I wasn't too nervous. Due to company management and shifting circumstances, the departments weren't functioning well together, and this department was considered a burden, with the goal being to rebuild and improve it. I soon discovered the specific reason why the department had deteriorated so much after my transfer. Hey, Aaron, is that you? A familiar voice brought back memories I'd rather forget. I never thought a high school graduate like you would last this long. You haven't quit yet, huh? The mocking words from 12 years ago resurfaced in my mind as unpleasant memories. But I wasn't the same person as back then. I'm Aaron Reed, and I'll be working in this department from today. I've interacted with many of you in my previous department, and I look forward to working with you. I ignored Cameron's words and introduced myself. Perhaps displeased by my disregard, Cameron confronted me. Apparently, he had also been promoted to section chief, unaware of my subsequent progress, and he continued speaking with a contemptuous smile. This department doesn't need high school graduates, you understand? Hey, Cameron. His colleague tried to admonish him, but Cameron glared back to shut him down. Don't talk back to someone who's beneath me, got it? Understood. Looking at his colleague's face, I instantly understood that the lack of cohesion in this department was due to Cameron. He might be competent in his work, but his communication skills were lacking. With his high-handed attitude towards others, It was no wonder things weren't working smoothly. Cameron, I've been assigned by the CO to improve this department, so I've been transferred here. I deliberately mentioned the CO's trust to convey my authority, and Cameron's expression changed. However, he continued to speak with a derisive laugh. So what? You think a high school graduate can make improvements? There's nothing here that needs fixing anyway. Aaron, this department is filled with graduates from top universities. Do you really think you, a high school graduate, can keep up here? Are you even thinking clearly? The days of old-fashioned methods are over. His words made me clench my fists. How could someone judge a person solely by their educational background? With a small sigh, I made up my mind. I looked him straight in the eye and spoke. I've been assigned here as the department manager. That means I am your superior. And you seem to put a big label on the fact that I'm a high school graduate. But in reality, what does that mean? I have been given the position of manager. Having a title isn't everything. And I don't think I'm particularly exceptional, but this is the fact. I spoke these words to confront reality. I didn't intend to boast about my position, but straightforward words might be the most effective way to get through to someone who doesn't understand otherwise. Cameron, seemingly angered by my words, was about to retort when, calling things old-fashioned is an insult to my principles, wouldn't you say? Sir? Standing there was Jack. He had a stern expression on his face. True to his word, Jack had climbed to the position of company CEO. I had hoped that over the course of more than 10 years, some things might have changed. Cameron, you used to clash with Aaron too, didn't you? Sir, As Cameron tried to continue, Jack cut him off. I was aware of this and still transferred Aaron here, hoping things had changed. Unfortunately, they haven't. It's disappointing. Sir, what are you talking about? You seem to belittle Aaron for being a high school graduate, but I've known him since he joined the company. I was the one who taught him the ropes of being a professional. At that time, I was a department manager. Though it wasn't widely known, he worked very diligently. Cameron's eyes widened in shock at the president's words. He had genuinely been unaware of the connection between Jack and me, and his face turned pale. Other employees, who had always known about my strong connection with Jack, were aware of the trust Jack had in me. Many employees found it odd that Cameron didn't know this, and they looked puzzled. I can't believe he keeps challenging Aaron, a potential company CEO. I think he's finished. I overheard these whispers from my colleagues. Oh, that wasn't my intention, Cameron muttered, flustered, as the other employees gave him cold stares. Unable to bear the scrutiny, Cameron began to mumble something. I worked so hard to get here to be recognized by my father. I'm not inferior to anyone. I'm better than anyone. Hearing Cameron's words, I realized something. Whatever had happened, Cameron had been striving for recognition, trying not to lose to anyone. That drive had become so intense that he lost sight of his surroundings. We'll address this later. Everyone, get back to work. Aaron, I'm entrusting you with this department. Yes, sir. Jack's words dispersed everyone. Following this incident, Cameron was reassigned to another department and demoted from his managerial position. The new department was a vastly different environment, moving from a planning and management role to one where he had to do the work himself. Unable to bear it, Cameron eventually resigned. I heard from employees in the same department that, due to his personality and age, he has not yet found a new job. After that, I reviewed the department's issues and personnel assignments, introduced new systems, and worked on restructuring the department. Gradually, results began to show, and now our performance is improving. Aaron, you're amazing. Other departments say our communication is really quick now. No, it's all thanks to everyone's efforts. Oh, sorry. I'll be leaving early today. Oh, is it about your sister? How's she doing recently? She's doing okay. I'll leave the rest to you. Sure. As I gained more experience as a working adult, I began to find more time for my family. At first, I struggled to manage my feelings, but thanks to the support of those around me, I now feel grateful for what I've learned in this job. Additionally, the the salary from my managerial position allowed me to cover Claire's medical expenses properly.
Oh, hey, Aaron.
As soon as I arrived at the hospital, Claire waved at me with a smile. Seeing her looking so well after a long time reassured me. Today was her rehab day, and I met up with her while she was in her wheelchair. Claire looked at me with a happy yet nervous expression. "What's up?"
Watch this.
Claire placed her hands on the wheelchair handles and slowly applied pressure. I instinctively moved to support her, but she said, "Aaron, just watch." So I waited quietly. She slowly lifted her hips, grasped the handrail in front of her, and then let go of it. Seeing her stand without support left me astonished. But that wasn't all. Claire took one step at a time and walked towards me. "Claire, your legs."
I can only walk slowly, but I worked hard in rehab.
I hugged her tightly as she embraced me. Feeling like all her hard work had paid off, my heart warmed.
Aaron, thank you for working hard for me. Because you're working so hard, I can keep going too. When my legs fully recover, I want to run again and become an athlete.
You can do it, Claire. You've worked so hard without giving up on your dream. Watching her was like seeing my past self, and it made my chest ache a bit. Still, she taught me that my efforts have a meaningful impact.
Let's take a slow walk today.
Yeah, I'll probably question my choices many times in the future, wondering if they were truly right. But now, I have no regrets about the path I've taken. I will continue to live life to the fullest.